Oh, sick. Hey, what is up, horror fam? Josh reporting here. Just a heads up, guys, the entire review will not be filmed like this. I actually just went out and bought a new computer recently, and I wanted to play around with the camera and, just see how good the quality is. And actually, it looks pretty impressive. I'm actually happy with this. So, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play around with the settings here. It's going to take me just a couple of minutes here, so hang tight, guys. Please don't go anywhere, and we'll continue with the review. Let's see. The hell? The screen just went black. That's weird. What? What's that sound? No, seriously, guys, what's going on here? Guys? Oh, God. It's getting louder. Oh my God. Jeez, I'm really getting rattled here, guys. Oh God, I'm really shaking. Or maybe that's just the antihistamines, but I am freaking out. Oh my God. As you can tell, I have a lot of fun making these videos. Too much fun depending on who you ask. Welcome to Round the Clock Frights, guys. I am Josh. Here we are in beautiful Mesa, Arizona, ready to talk about another horror movie. Now, I will be completely honest with you guys. I've been pretty bad about catching up with recent horror movies. The last new horror movie that I saw from 2020 was Vivarium, starring Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots. So I've been on a little bit of a hiatus. I have been having a lot of movie marathons, though. I just watched all 30-something of Steven Spielberg's films, which was very educational. So there is an original horror movie on Shudder that I've been hearing a lot of really good buzz about. It's a 56-minute long horror movie that was actually made during quarantine, and I wanted to check it out because, honestly, it's been a while since I've been scared senseless by something. Last time I was scared senseless was when I read 50 Shades of Grey, which was 2015, so it's been a while. So I wanted to check this movie out. It is called Host.
Hey! Hi, guys.
Hey, guys!
Rena!
Caroline! Hi, Teddy!
Let's do a shot after us.
Hey, everyone, get in. 3, 2, 1. Have you ever done anything like this before?
I've never done this over Zoom.
So, a little background on this movie. Watching the trailer, I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit hesitant about watching this because back in 2014 or 15, there was a Blumhouse horror movie release called Unfriended, which essentially used the same gimmick. It was about these flawless Calvin Klein teenagers who chatted with each other over Skype, and scary shenanigans ensued, and honestly, I had a lot of problems with Unfriended, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it. The overall, thing where, they shot the whole movie using nothing but computer screens, I thought was a little gimmicky, and it just kind of annoyed me. So, even though I heard really good things about this movie, I was a little bit on the fence, but I decided to check it out, and I have to say that this movie got so many things right that Unfriended did not. Starting with characters who aren't completely insufferable. The characters in Host feel like actual people. They feel like they've known each other for a very long time, like they've built up these relationships over many years, and the cast has tremendous chemistry together. They feel very convincing, like these are actual people, although I'm not gonna lie, a couple of characters did look like celebrity doppelgangers. The main female character, Haley, looked a little bit like Anne Hathaway in some shots, which would please my wife because my wife is a really big Anne Hathaway fan. And then another girl named Caroline, I thought she looked a little bit like Amy Adams in certain shots, especially in close-ups. But, besides from that, these are no-name actors, and I really have to commend them. Actually, real quick, I really want to commend the filmmakers of this movie because I know right now especially, a lot of artists are struggling to make ends meet or to create new projects. Lockdown has been very difficult on artists, theater people, film people, they haven't had a chance to work on anything. But the director of this movie, whose name is Rob Savage, he he took advantage of the situation and he delivered a very relevant horror movie.
Obviously, we're not physically together, but there's no reason why spirit can't communicate over the internet.
Nothing's gonna happen.
Visualize us sitting in a circle. Spirit, we invite you to use us to pass on any communication. Is there anyone there? Please come forth.
By the way, I looked up the trivia, some trivia about this movie, and apparently here's where the idea for the film came from. The director was actually having a Zoom meeting with some of his friends, and he decided to pull a prank on them. He actually made it seem as if he was being demonically possessed, like there was something scary in his house, and apparently his friends bought it. He recorded the entire thing. Apparently it's online. It's kind of a short film, but he pitched this idea as a full-length film, and Shudder agreed to finance it, and he got together some very talented actors. And even though this isn't a feature-length horror movie, this contains, honestly, more scares than a good majority of horror films that I've seen recently. I really do have to commend the filmmakers behind this movie. They did a very good job, taking advantage of this whole lockdown situation, and I just have to give them a round of applause. So, what is the plot of this movie? A group of friends want to hold a seance over a Zoom meeting. A seance is basically a ritual that will supposedly allow them to communicate dead loved ones. So the main character, Haley, she gets her friends together. They have a Zoom meeting, and she gets into contact with this older woman who I guess is experienced in the act of bringing, dead people, not back to life, but just like, summoning them so that people can communicate with their dead loved ones. And at first, for the first 20 minutes of the movie, of course, these characters aren't taking it very seriously. They're making jokes. The one character, Emma, she actually pretends that a kid that she bullied in school is now trying to communicate with her, trying to speak to her. And that's another thing that I want to bring up about this movie. It does have kind of an interesting angle. So basically the idea is that the reason this malicious demon is summoned is because this character, Emma, she essentially lies. She disrespects the spirits. She makes up the fact that she is being, contacted by this dead individual. And by doing so, this demon is summoned because she's not respecting, the art. She's not respecting what's happening. And I thought that was a very interesting angle. I mean, of course, we've seen these kind of movies before. I mean, a group of young people summon a malevolent spirit, and throughout the course of the movie, they have to learn how to stop it or defeat it. And that's another point I want to make about Host. This movie, as far as in the way of scares, it doesn't really contain anything fresh or anything new. We've seen many of these kind of scares before, mainly in the Paranormal Activity movies. But what this movie proves is that timing is everything. The scares in this movie are very well executed, very well timed. There are certain moments where you're on the edge of your seat anticipating a scare, and the director lets you sit just long enough before throwing the scare in your face. And again, it was a very skillfully made movie. I don't want to spoil too much, but I do want to answer this one question. Did any of the jump scares in this movie get to me? Like, did they actually have an effect on me? There is one jump scare probably around the halfway mark that actually did make me jump in my seat a little bit. And I would be lying if I said that I wasn't kind of embarrassed by my reaction to this moment, because it actually did get me.
What was that? Amy, was that you?
I heard it.
I heard something.
I think there's something here. Do you see that? Oh,
Emma, how funny.
Because, I'm not one to normally have much of a reaction to jump scares. I've seen them all. I've seen plenty of jump scares. I usually know, when they're about to take place. A long silence will occur, and then bam. But in this movie's case, like I mentioned earlier, they're all very well done. And the ending of this movie, it does follow that found footage cliche where something evil will suddenly just jump at the camera, and suddenly the movie will end right then and there, which is a cliche among these movies. And here's another thing. You either go along with this gimmick or you don't. I can see this viewing experience being maybe a little overwhelming for some viewers, like especially in the moments where you're essentially looking at 6 different computer screens, and it can be a little bit difficult on which one to watch, which one that you're supposed to follow. And I know for me, that did get a little bit irritating at times. There are 6 characters on screen at once, and I wasn't entirely sure who I was supposed to be looking at, and that got under my skin a little bit. But I mean, this is a 56-minute movie. It's, as Stephen King put it, a good horror movie should be all killer or no filler. This movie doesn't waste any time. It gets going, and that's what I really, really appreciated about it. Also, thank you again to the writers of this movie, because a horror movie doesn't really connect with me unless I become very emotionally invested in the characters. And even though we don't spend much time with these characters before shit hits the fan, we do get to know them well enough, and we do attach ourselves to these characters, and we end up feeling very sorry for them when terrible things start to happen. And honestly, by the end of the movie, I did feel sad for these characters. I was sad to see some of them go. I was actually enjoying being around some of them, and what can I say? This movie did draw me in emotionally.
Here's something.
We've connected with something. We gotta keep going. We gotta talk to it.
This is not good. I told you not to disrespect the spirits. It could be something demonic.
Hey, this is all your fault! Not my fault! This is your fault!
Now, is this a groundbreaking, revolutionary horror movie? Something like the Blair Witch Project? Hell no. It's definitely not. But it's a suitably entertaining horror movie that you can watch for like an hour, you get some good scares, and you'll have a really good time. I mean, this isn't something like 2020's The Invisible Man that is trying to have a really deep, meaningful message about the current climate. It's a roller coaster ride essentially, and honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. Every now and then, having a horror movie that serves as a distraction, as a fun distraction, it can be very refreshing. And honestly, in recent years, we've gotten a number of acclaimed original horror movies, especially from A24 Studios. A24 is responsible for some tremendous original horror movies, and even though this isn't A24, this movie does have some good ideas in it. It has some really good atmosphere, and like I said, it's just to be commended, especially in this climate where making movies is just so difficult and almost impossible. But yes, guys, I don't want to talk too much more about Host. I would definitely recommend checking it out. Again, Rob Savage, you saw an opportunity and you took it. And I'm really hoping that more artists follow suit. I thought this was a really clever idea, a really good idea. And, as you can see, I have some candles lit. I don't plan on, summoning any demons or malicious spirits. Don't worry. If you get the chance, I would recommend subscribing to Shudder. They do have a really good library on there. There's a number of really good horror titles to choose from. They do have original content on there as well, and it's worth a subscription, honestly. There's another original horror movie on there called Haunt, which is produced by Eli Roth, a man I'm not necessarily a fan of, but Haunt was actually a pretty decent movie. It was directed by the same men who wrote A Quiet Place, and Shudder has some really good stuff on there. So definitely worth the price of admission, as we call it in the business. But yes, definitely check out Host. As far as videos that we want to make in the future, I've been talking a lot to Kim about it, and one thing that we really want to do, we want to shine a light on some of the classic horror films. There are a number of classic horror films that she has not watched. Our last video, she talked about Get Out because she hadn't seen that movie yet, and it's considered a modern-day classic. But we definitely want to talk about more classic horror films. I think as far as what to do next, we might talk about The Silence of the Lambs, which is a film that I've seen many times, but she just watched for the first time recently. So we might be covering that. We do hope that you guys enjoyed this video. As always, we love talking about horror movies. This is, a huge passion for us. It's what we love to do in our free time. We definitely anticipate more videos in the future. And as far as movies that I'm looking forward to the rest of this year, as far as I know, there isn't much. I think everything has pretty much been moved to 2021, which is understandable. But non-horror movies aside, I mean, we have presumably Black Widow still being released, and Wonder Woman 1984, which looks very intriguing. But yes, thank you so much, Boils and Ghouls. It is a treat as always to talk to you guys about horror movies. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe to our channel, Round the Clock Frights. I hope you guys are staying safe out there, and whatever you do, if you hold a Zoom meeting soon, just please, for the love of God, don't bring any demons upon us. 2020 has been difficult enough. You guys are the best. Thank you again, and have a scary day. I'm going to have to check under my bed tonight.